Hi, this is Darren Mathis with the Good Samaritan Society here in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. I'm here with Assisted Living Manager Jill Fries, and we have a few questions for Jill today. You know, Jill, there are so many questions out there regarding senior care and services, assisted living, senior apartments, home care. There's some potential confusion about the terminology. When someone says assisted living, is there a universal meaning that exists?
Assisted living is there to maintain our residents independent, but at the same time being able to provide those supportive services so they can maintain as independent as possible. So, you know, having those 3 meals a day, that weekly housekeeping, weekly laundry, the socialization, being out with others, is just a great aspect to have them maintain that independence without truly being totally dependent on someone.
Okay. You mentioned some of those needs and what people are looking for. Is there a typical scenario in which someone will come and seek out assisted living?
An individual that's living at home and may have had an accident or some upcoming things that have led them to not be able to take care of themselves, that are starting to realize that they do need that little extra assistance. And the other being maybe the parent is living with an adult child, or that adult child is living at a distance and they're seeing mom and dad aren't able to care for themselves as much as they were able to.
So if someone doesn't know what level of care they need, or they have a parent, they're trying to find care for a loved one, is it pretty easy for them to find out what level of care they need?
Each assisted living is going to be regulated a little bit different upon the state in which they're looking at, but certainly here at Prairie Creek, the nurse and I will either go out to the individual's home or have them come here so we can assess them and go through our practices to see how much independence they have and what is required of us, what type of assistance we can help them out with to set that level of care.
So within assisted living communities, they can vary. Number of apartments. How many apartments do you have here at Prairie Creek Assisted Living?
Right. Here we have 32 apartments. We have 8 2-bedroom apartments and 24 single-bedroom apartments.
Is this pretty typical of what someone should expect to see or would expect to see, do you think, even across the whole United States? Walk into assisted living, how would this compare to most of them out there?
Right. Living in a community that has several individuals under one roof, we want to create those spaces that they're able to come out and enjoy each other's company.
Okay. One of the things I've heard from people that move into assisted living or through family members or sharing stories, they say, well, geez, I wish I would have moved in there sooner.
Right. I think there's a lot of hesitation at first because they are thinking, I have to move out of my home that I've been living at for 40, 50 years, and that's very tough. And as we know, any move or any transition is very difficult for us. But I think once they get in and see our environment here and see how friendly the neighbors are, it just opens us up and creates that family attitude.
So we're inside a model apartment now with Jill. And Jill, when someone moves into an apartment, what's that process like? Is there a need to downsize typically, or what's that move-in like?
Typically our apartments are unfurnished because we want our residents to move in with their items and make it their home.
I'm going to assume that the assisted living community here is built with a lot of provisions in mind for people's safety and mobility. Like for instance, in this model apartment, it looks really wide open and comfortable and easy to get around. And are there other things that you keep in mind when you're building a center like this?
Right. Well, in most cases, our federal and state guidelines guide us on what we need to have to make sure that we're ADA compliant. And so especially in this building, we're a 1-level building, so we don't have to worry about steps or elevators or anything of that nature. And then of course, handrails are important as well.
What are some of those common questions people have when they first move in?
Certainly, I think the biggest thing is just getting that schedule down. When will someone be here to do my housekeeping? Who will be doing my laundry? Who should I anticipate to help me down to meals? When is the activity going to start? So just really letting our residents know what our schedule is and to help the staff be able to really meet the residents' needs and what their schedule is.
Of course, one unique part of the Good Samaritan Society is the fact that we incorporate devotions and prayer and worship regularly into our community life. And we have an example of that going on right now here in your chapel. We've got the general store here. and a beauty shop or salon over here.
Every person has to have that beauty experience, and of course, we do find that a conversation does happen as we all gather together. But definitely, you're right in creating that community. We have individuals that do take advantage of our community outings and go on the bus to our local stores here in town, but we also have individuals that feel that they don't need to go out to the busyness of the stores, and so that's why we have our general store with basic necessities that they can go and get.
Jill, if someone is curious or they're looking or researching care for one of their loved ones or maybe for themselves, what would you recommend that they do?
I really encourage them to go out and research. Go find those communities. If it's in your local phone book, online, it never hurts to have that background knowledge so you can make that educated decision in making that move.
Okay. Well, Jill, I want to thank you for your time and helping us get a clearer understanding of what assisted living is. Thank you so much today.